Hi, welcome to projectbazaar.com. Our project title is Dynamic Query Forms for Database Queries. The process which comes under the domain of data mining. Data mining is an analytic process designed to explore data in search of consistent patterns under systematic relationship between variables and then to validate the findings by applying the detected patterns. If a user is not familiar with the database schema in advance, those hundreds or thousands of data attributes would confuse them. The solution is database query form, a novel database query form interface which is able to dynamically generate query forms. We will use the techniques to query optimization method and reduce the execution time, also enhances the efficiency. It improves the speed of data retrieval operations. This query based retrieve which is used in database search engine for user analyzed. Query form is one of the most widely used user interfaces for querying databases. Traditional query form are designed and predefined by developers or database administrator. The rapid development of web information and scientific database, modern database becomes very large and complex. In natural sciences such as databases have over hundreds of entities for chemical and biological data resources. Many web databases such as free space and typically have thousands of structured web entities. Therefore, it is difficult to design a set of static query forms to satisfy various ad hoc database queries on those complex databases. Here, the many existing database management and development tools such as Easy Query and Fusion and Microsoft Access provide several mechanisms to let users create customized queries on databases. However, the creation of customized queries totally depends on users' manual editing. Each iteration consists of two types of user extraction: query form enrichment and query execution. Here we used about the database query, that is the author and the books which are represented here, the database search query results. Here we take on the data set as about the books and authors. Next we go for a data flow diagram. The data flow diagram which starts with user login. Here the user can enter into the process. If the user want to enter into the process, he or she must enter the valid information about them to access the database query forms. Here the authentication which is verified by using the database process. The database which verifies whether the user is already registered or not. If the user is a new user, he should enter the valid information about them. Next, the process which comes under the dynamic user query, that is the user can give any queries to the database about the author search only. Here the author search only takes a place for dynamic query form retrieval databases. Here the search query which searches and retrieved from the database by applying the several techniques. Finally, the result will be retrieved based on the user search query for the user. After that, we have to evaluate the performance for the existing and proposed retrieval times. Now let's go for a demo of our process. First we have to start with home.java. This is our modified title. Here we have to browse for a input data, that is the information which is fully based on the author and about the book. Here I am going to choose a data set. This is fully about the attributes about the ID, URL and time and the author name. Next we have to load the input data into the database. For that, here also we have to choose a input. Here the all data are inserted into the database. Next we have to view the database table. Next these are the attributes in the input data. The attributes which are ID, query, time, item rank, click URL and the author name. Next we go for a user login. If the user is a new user, here he or she should enter the valid user registration. Here I am going to give a username as Elysium and the email ID as and password. Next I am going to choose a date of birth. Here I have to provide an address. Next we can register by using these informations. Here the registration which is successfully finished. Next we are going to enter into the process by giving the username and password. This email ID which is given into the during user registration and the password. Here I can log in to access the data. Here I am going to search about the author, so I can retrieve based on the author information. Here I can give a author name as Ram and it will be retrieved based on the loaded input data. Here the relevant author names which are retrieved from the database. This is the query and about these are retrieved information from the database based on the Ram author name. Next here we have to insert into the database. Here the relevant names which comes under the Ram is 31 and the total names is 8. The relevance, this is information about the Ram author. This is the relevant count of the occurrences and number of times retrieved. Next we go for a co-occurrences. Here I can get a total attributes about the Ram and the word count, that is the author name, and the books about the author. Here the page URL, this is the URL about the query, that is a book. Next we go for a ranking and indexing method. Here this is the ranking and the score of the process, and this is the equation for precision and recall. Here I can get a query starting time and execution total execution time, the relevant values which are calculated and the precision recall values also calculated here. Next we go for a elimination, that is a repetition of the eliminated values. Here we have to eliminate the repetition of attributes. After eliminating the repeated values, here we have to register that is a user have to submit the user review, that is a feedback. The feedback which is sent to the database. Here I can give a 4-star. Here the message should be shown as a please add your comments. So here we have to add our comments. finally, this is the query retrieval time, that is the database retrieved data. Thanks for watching.